Liverpool riding high, the Arne Slot era off to a fantastic start. Things couldn't be better until post-game Mo Salah drops a bomb on the entire fan base and announces that it is his final year with the club. I don't mean to laugh. It's actually devastating news for Liverpool fans, and we have to take it with a grain of salt because it's a complicated situation, but it does make me wonder if he's not taking a little bit of a page out of Jürgen Klopp's playbook here and looking for a farewell tour. We're going to talk about what's going on with this situation next here on Pints and Punditry at the Pitchside Pub. So in case you missed it somehow, in the midst of all the celebrating of their 3-0 just curb stomping of Manchester United, and Arne Slot being 3-0 in his Liverpool career, and things couldn't be better for Liverpool, and I'm actually thrilled to see it because I respect the club, and I really like the Arne Slot signing. But in the midst of all this, Mo Salah doing a post-game interview, which should have been all nice and easy, and he says,
"As you know, this is my last year in the club. I just want to enjoy it."
And the whole sort of footballing world just came to a stop, and everybody, at least on Twitter, said, "What did he just say? Did he just say what I think he said?" And you're damn right he did. He said exactly what he meant to say. And this is a very complicated situation, but it has some simple thoughts behind it and some solutions that could go a lot of different ways. So we're going to talk about what those are, but before we do, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me down below so you can follow the channel. Get down in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on what Mo Salah said and what I'm saying about it. Get down in that comment section. Let me know what you think. You can also leave comments on Twitter at Pitchside Pub, and check out the website pitchsidepub.com. So I sort of insinuated that in the opening that maybe he's taking a page out of the Jürgen Klopp playbook. And I say that because it feels like we just did this, right? Liverpool legend announces it's his final season, and now we get this beautiful farewell tour. I mean, that's what happened with Jürgen Klopp. It wasn't this early in the season, but that's what happened. Now, there are some obviously massive differences, mainly being that Mo Salah did not announce he is retiring. Jürgen Klopp said, "I'm exhausted, I've had enough, I love you Liverpool, but I gotta take a break." And so there was no possible animosity or way that anyone could get mad about that. I think we can all relate to just being burnt out and needing a break. So everyone got that. It's also different when it's a player and a manager. But this one's complicated because Mo Salah is in the last year of his contract. And he didn't just say, he certainly didn't say I'm retiring. He said, I'm in my last year here at Liverpool. And he put the onus on the club and said,
"Nobody in the club talked to me yet about contracts, so I just okay, I played my last season."
And that was a dig. And that means we know what his motivation was there. He wants a contract extension or some resolution to this. And he hasn't gotten it. And apparently, according to Mo Salah, hasn't even been approached. Now, maybe he's not going to be. And that's a possibility. We'll talk about that. And I don't know that that would be the worst thing in the world, although I know that would break the hearts of Liverpool supporters, and understandably so. But I'll talk about why that is in a second, because there's a lot to unpack here in terms of the strategy clubs take with aging players, and Liverpool has a couple of these situations going on right now. But I do have to wonder if he saw the reception that Klopp got last year and sort of wants that. Klopp, to steal a line from Hamilton, taught him how to say goodbye, right? Klopp announced he was leaving, and it was like the second coming of the Messiah, right? The outpouring of love was unique and unlike anything we've really seen in a while in the footballing world, which has so many negative connotations to it. And you have to wonder if Salah's sitting there saying, "Hey, listen, I'd love to stay, but if you guys aren't going to give me an extension, if you guys aren't even going to come to the table, if this is really going to be my last season, I'd like to just put it out there on the table and do my farewell tour and receive my flowers and get my love." And I got to tell you, Liverpool supporters, now I'm speaking as an outsider, I'm not a Liverpool supporter here, but I respect the hell out of the club and I respect the hell out of Mo Salah and what he has done. If it is in fact true that the club does not come to him and offer him an extension, or if it is not a serious offer in that, he's not really, it's sort of a dummy offer that just to say we did it, but it's not really a serious extension that he has any chance of signing. you should receive him the way that Klopp was received and give him the sending off he deserves. This is a legend of the club. One of the top players in club history. He brought you a Premier League title. He won a Champions League. He won everything that needs to be won to be a legend at Liverpool, and he's continuing to do it into his 30s. And he's been a stand-up citizen, and he's been everything you want in a citizen. I even saw a stat that when Mo Salah joined the club, hate crimes against Muslim Brits went down like 15% or something. Don't quote me on that. But I mean, you can't ask for more from a player, from a leader. And so, if Liverpool really does not make a genuine effort and operate in good faith, or even if they just go, hey, we love you, Mo, we love everything you've done, but it's time to go our separate ways, we'll even help you pack, right? Give the man his flowers. Give the man his support. Do not hold this against the player, because from the sounds of it, it sounds like he would like to stay. Now, should he? And is this the best situation for him? And while we're talking about Mo Salah, we have to talk about Virgil van Dijk as well. Liverpool has two players in their 30s. Mo Salah is 32, Virgil van Dijk is 33. Both players are in the final years of their contracts. If you're not familiar, once we reach January, those players are allowed to start negotiating with other clubs so they can get themselves set up for next year where they will move on a free transfer. And so it really comes down to the next 4 months that Liverpool has to get these situations right. And then on top of it, they also have Trent Alexander-Arnold, who is in the last year of his contract and has to be a much bigger priority because he's only 25. If for no other reason, it's not about the caliber of player at this point. If you just said in a vacuum, which of those, if you can only have one of those three guys, who do you want back for next year? It's not that simple. Alexander-Arnold has massive value on the market. To let him leave on a free would be catastrophic from a valuation standpoint in terms of selling assets and getting, being able to spend that money on replacements, right? Van Dijk, you wouldn't, even if he was under contract for a few years, you'd get, a nice chunk for him, but not the same as Alexander-Arnold. Same for Mo Salah, assuming we're not dealing with Saudi Arabia. Take them out of the equation for a second. So they've got this situation, and frankly, they've got to handle Trent's first because they can't lose him on a free. Should they, or could they lose Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk on a free? Now, in a perfect situation for Liverpool, they would just continue to sign these players to one-year contracts until it looks like they're not worth it anymore. Because the tough part about this is they're both still playing exceptionally well. But we know what happens to players in their 30s. At 32 and 33, the drop-off for both of them is coming. We don't know exactly when. You can look at the minutes played and get a good gauge of where within a couple thousand minutes or so it's going to happen. But that could be towards the end of this year, that could be next year, that could be the following year. We don't know. You can also manage their minutes a little bit to stretch that. And do they still have a role on this club, even if they're not the stars and starting and playing every game? Probably, if they'd be willing to take it, which they probably wouldn't be. But from a perfect situation for Liverpool, you would just keep giving them one-year extensions until that drop-off, and then let them sort of retire and end their career in glory. Problem is, someone is going to offer them a multiple-year contract, and those players have every right to go take it, and should. Should it be Liverpool? Well, that's the risk with aging players, is you get these guys that are 32, 33. If somebody's willing to offer them a 4-year contract, they're going to want to take it. Of course they are. They want their money. That doesn't mean Liverpool should offer it. Offering a 33-year-old Virgil van Dijk a 4-year contract feels like a bad decision. And in any sport, the general adage, from a purely business standpoint, not from an emotional standpoint, not from a supporter standpoint, not from anything else, but just from a business standpoint, it is better to let a player go a year too early than a year too late. That's the general rule of thumb. It's never quite that simple, but on paper, that is the rule. And so they don't want to give a 4-year extension to these aging players because there is almost no way they aren't regretting it by the end of it. Now, someone, Chelsea, will be willing to give them a longer contract just to get them in for that last year or two and then eat it at the end. And I say that facetiously just because they throw a ton of money around. But someone will be willing to do it. If not in one of the big European leagues, there is always the Saudi Arabian sort of umbrella hanging over everything, casting a shadow over all these all these players. And Mo Salah has been their white whale for a little while, because having a native Middle Eastern star in a league like that would be fantastic. He'd be a rock star over there, even more so than he is in Liverpool. So Liverpool's probably thinking, maybe we let him go. And they will offer probably a 1-year extension or something. And then it's going to come down to Salah and Van Dijk saying, do we want to just continue to ride this out at Liverpool or not? And I would love to see that. I think that'd be great. I think that'd actually be a win for everybody. That would be better than, let's say, Mo Salah leaving on a free and going to Barcelona, and I pick them because they are, always connected to every free transfer because they have no money, but they managed to find the wages. And so would that be better than him going there for 4 years and having these massive expectations and then falling flat? Like Sergio Aguero did, health issues obviously, but like Robert Lewandowski has not been as well received as would like, even though he's scored goals. Ilkay Gundogan had 1 year and is back at Man City. I mean, this has not worked out well for the players that have done it, but that wouldn't stop them from doing it again. No, I think Van Dijk and Salah would actually be better off staying at Liverpool, even just going 1 year at a time on very high wages, but no long-term commitment. But if somebody's offering them 3 or 4 years, I can't blame them for going and taking it. And so that's a real possibility. So it really is interesting to see how this goes, but I would guess the Fenway Sports Group with their analytic department, and we've seen, if we look at what they've done in baseball with the Red Sox, they have let big players go and chosen to rebuild and take that money rather than overpay for aging players down the road. I don't know if they're going to handle it the same way here or not, but the ownership mindset is somewhat similar. And I can't say that it's wrong. You have to take the emotions out of it, which is easier for me to do because I'm not a Liverpool supporter. But it might not be the worst thing. If Mo Salah and Van Dijk won't take a 1-year extension and go year by year from here on out, to just say, thank you for your service. We will be building statues of you around the grounds at Anfield. We'll name a gate after you. We'll name one of the stands after you. Like, you're going to get your flowers. You're going to go down in Liverpool history. But the time is now, let's part our ways. I can't say that's the wrong strategy. I can't say that it's not. If they won't take a 1-year contract, which I would be surprised if they do. Particularly if by doing that, they now have the money to allocate towards keeping Trent Alexander-Arnold. That is a bigger priority for them long-term, a world-class player in his prime. So if that's how that plays out, that will be a sad day for Liverpool fans, and it'll be a watershed day for the Premier League in terms of a changing of the guard of who the stars of this league are, because I would hope Mo Salah at least and Van Dijk would leave to go elsewhere to other leagues, although you never know. But I'd get it. I'd understand it. And I think Mo Salah and Van Dijk are smart enough to understand it too, and that's why when it comes up, or when he brings it up, he just says, as of now, this is my last year with the club. And if that means he wants his farewell tour that he saw Jürgen Klopp receive, more power to him. Well-deserved, and fans, you should give it to him. So I thought that was really interesting. I'm sure it was more about a leveraging tool, and that comment, bringing that up there and putting it out there that, oh, by the way, I'm not in my last year of my contract because I want to be. I am because they have not come to me. But I do wonder if part of him was remembering what his manager received last year, the love that he got, and saying, hey, I wouldn't mind a little bit of that myself. What do you think? Do you think that played a role at all, or am I just connecting some dots here? Get down in that comment section. Let me know what you think. You can also leave comments on Twitter at PitchsidePub. While you're at it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me down below so you can follow the channel, and check out the website, pitchsidepub.com. Thanks as always for joining us here on Pints and Punditry at the Pitchside Pub.